everybody, Luther for Life here, bringing you guys a brand new anime deck discussion this time around. We are talking about the Time Lord archetype from 5Ds. This is one of the big archetypes that people really want from the anime in general to be printed, and it's really understandable why, because not only was this used by one of the big antagonists of 5Ds, but however, it's also a really powerful deck, and if this were to be printed, I can almost guarantee you it would be meta relevant. Now, would it be like top tier? I don't know, but it maybe be like high tier 2, low tier 1, possibly, if they were to keep every single little effect of all the anime ones. Now, Konami has kind of teased us and released 2 Time Lords in the past, Metayon and Cephalon. Cephalon being the deck's boss monster, Metayon just being, one of the Time Lords. And that's kind of annoying. Come on, Konami, release the rest of them. I mean, heck, they released 2 out of the 12 monsters. Come on. Now, one thing that I do want to mention is that this deck is of varying attributes. I cannot say that word for some reason. But however, they're all fairies, which is very interesting to me. And I really do like that, because there's not very many good fairy archetypes in the game. I mean, there's Melodious, and that's about it. I know there's Dark Lords, but that's the only other fairy archetype I can think of off the top of my head. Oh yeah, Agents. Fairy, Melodious and Agents. So, yeah, we need more fairy archetypes in the game. Okay, so on to the actual deck discussion. We're going to go ahead and cover the first 2 that have actually been printed first, and then we're going to go on to the anime cards. So first and foremost is the deck's boss monster, Cephalon, the ultimate Time Lord. This guy is a really good monster, and he sadly, though, cannot be used in very many decks. I mean, I know there was like Cephalon Turbo for a while. I believe that was like a Lightsworn deck, and basically just summon out 3 of these guys, use his effects, and just go for game. So, now what Cephalon does is, cannot be normal summoned or set, must be special summoned from your hand by having 10 or more monsters in your graveyard, and cannot be special summoned by other ways. Once per turn, you can special summon 1 level 8 or higher fairy type monster from your hand or graveyard. Its effects are negated, and its attack becomes 4,000. This is really good for the deck, because this is a really good boss monster, personally, in my opinion. So, he cannot be normal summoned or set. It has to be special summoned from your hand by having 10 or more monsters in your graveyard. That is perfectly fine. See, the Time Lords have ways to get stuff in the graveyard very easily, and unlike Cephalon, everybody else needs to be normal summoned. They cannot be special summoned from the deck, and that's kind of annoying, but hey, you can special summon them off of Cephalon's effect, which is pretty good. Now then, with that being said, he's got a few drawbacks. First and foremost, he negates the monster's effects, but you're trading it off for making it a 4,000 beat stick. Imagine something like Metayon and turning this guy from a 0 to a 4,000. That is really, really good, and really powerful too. So, yeah, I like this guy. He's got a few drawbacks, but not to mention he's kind of hard to summon, but he's a really good monster in general. Next up is Metayon, the Time Lord. This guy is the second Time Lord. Actually, I think he came out first before Cephalon, but he's one of the only 2 Time Lords that have been released for us. So he's a fire fairy, and now he kind of sets the standard thing for how all Time Lords work, and that is, cannot be special summoned from the deck. If you control no monsters, you can normal summon this card without tributing. This card cannot be destroyed by battle or by card effects, and you take no battle damage from battles involving this face-up attack position card. So that all Time Lords, except for Cephalon, have that effect, that very first effect, and that is really, really good. Although Sandayon has a different kind of like stringent on his battle damage thing. So being able to just normal summon it by control no card. Well, wait, cannot be. I believe it's is it monsters or? Yeah, okay, if you control no monsters. I was trying to find it. So no monsters, but you can control back row and stuff. So that is really good, just being able to normal summon them out, and hey, can't be destroyed by battle or card effects, and you take no battle damage from battles involving it. That is really, really good. So, at the end of the battle phase, if Metayon attacked, or was attacked, return all other monsters on the field to the hand and inflict 300 damage to your opponent for each card returned. During your standby phase, shuffle this card into the deck, even if face down. That, and by the way, that last line of the text, during your standby phase, shuffle this card into the deck. All Time Lords have that effect as well, which is a bit annoying, but makes sense, because then, oh hey, they go back to the deck, and then you can summon out another Time Lord. That is Both good and bad, because if you have one Time Lord who is really able to wreck your opponent and you want to keep him out, you better hope that you have another one in hand. So yeah. So Matation, this guy's actually been a side deck card in the past because he's able to just clear out the entire board. I like him quite a lot. He's an okay monster. Now, if I were to play it, now if Time Lords were to come out, would he be played? More than likely, yes, because he's one of the more well-known ones. I can almost guarantee you Cephylon will be played. So yeah, I like Matation and I like Cephylon, but I really like Cephylon more than Matation. Matation's good for just being able to get rid of stuff. Now then, for the actual anime stuff. So we've already covered the standard effects that they all have, so we're going to cover their unique effects now. So Sedan, he's a 4,000 attacker with 0 defense. Now, he has a bit of a difference on the neither player takes any battle damage. Neither player takes any battle damage from attacks involving him. So, yeah, that's kind of different how he works in that. Everybody else says, oh, you just don't take battle damage, your opponent can, though. So, that's okay. 4,000 attack points, though. I kind of wish that your opponent could take a little bit of battle damage, but considering his effect, it doesn't matter too much. So, at the end of the battle phase, if this card attacked or was attacked, inflict 2,000 damage to your opponent. That is really good. So, you not only get to kill an opponent's monster because this thing's 4,000, so you can run over just about everything your opponent has, but then your opponent takes 2,000 damage. Oh my god. And since he can't be destroyed in battle, even if your opponent were to attack it and drop on us, nothing would happen, so your opponent would take a 2,000 from that as well. I like this guy a lot. Just being able to burn your opponent for 2,000 at the measly cost of attacking or being attacked, that's really good. Next up is Harion, or Halon. Why does it have an R up here? Well, I know R's and L's in Japanese can be interchanged, so it's either Heron or Hylon, whichever one you want to call him. He's a fairy, earth, 0 attack, 0 defense, level 10. Just like just about everybody else, but he's an earth instead of light. So, same summoning conditions, same shuffling back into the deck. And you take no battle damage from battles involving this attack position card. At the end of the battle phase, if this card attacked or was attacked and your LP are lower, that is very, very terrible grammar right there. If your life points is lower than your opponent's, inflict damage to your opponent equal to your current LP deficit. So let's say you're at 4,000 and your opponent's at 8,000. You attack with this guy, your opponent takes 4,000 damage because that's the difference between your life points and your opponent's. That is really, really good, and I see it though being kind of situational because he's not the best first turn monster. Also, this deck doesn't really take battle damage too much. Just saying. So, next up is Raffion, the Time Lord. So, this guy's a wind, same stats as just about everybody else, although he's, obviously some outliers. So, if this card battled an opponent's monster, inflict damage to your opponent equal to that monster's attack points. So, another burn card, and I'm going to be honest, most of this deck is burn-oriented, which is one of the reasons why some people don't want this deck reprinted. So, you attack an opponent's monster with this guy, you take no damage, and your monster can't be destroyed. And then, let's say it has a blue eyes, your opponent takes 3,000 damage. That is absurd! I like this a lot, though. I really do, but it basically puts a big target on whatever your opponent has that has the highest amount of attack points, which basically is going to make your opponent try and protect them as much as possible. Next up is Gabrion, the Time Lord. So, same summoning conditions, same shuffling back into everything, blah, 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 blah. So, if this card, at the end of battle phase, if this card attacked or was attacked, target one card your opponent controls, shuffle that target into the deck. Okay, so I'm going to be honest, this guy's one of the weaker ones. While it's good that you can just shuffle a card that your opponent has back into the deck, with just for attacking, and don't get me wrong, there's some decks that would love to play this. In a pure Time Lord deck, I don't know if I'd play more than 1 or 2 of them, just simply because the other Time Lords, most of them are just better. I mean, he doesn't really do much. Granted, though, you can get rid of just about everything. Oh my god, can you imagine Gravity Bind against this deck? Gravity Bind would kill this deck. That just occurred to me. Not that anybody's going to ever play Gravity Bind again. Yeah, so just being able to target a card on the field, shuffle it back in the deck. He does have to still attack, which can put him in targeting zone for like D-Prison and Storming Mirror Force, stuff like that. But, however, it's not bad, and that honestly goes for just about everybody. So, next up is Camion, or Camion with a C or Camion with a K. Pick your mind, Devpro. So, same stuff as everybody else. 0 attack, 0 defense, or fairy, blah, blah, blah. So, at the end of the battle phase, if this card attacked or was attacked, target one monster your opponent controls, shuffle that target into the deck, then inflict 500 damage to your opponent. Okay, this guy, he's got the same issue as Gabrion, but he's also a bit more restricted in that he can only target monsters. However, your opponent also takes 500 damage, which, honestly, like, that kind of makes him a little bit better than Gabrion, because you do the damage, that puts pressure on your opponent. So not only are you getting rid of a monster, but you're also doing damage to your opponent. Honestly, it's a toss-up between these two. I can already tell that if this deck were to be printed and these guys were to retain all of their effects verbatim, it would be a real toss-up and come down to player preference, which one of these two people like more. Me personally, I'd probably like play one of each or two of each. I don't know. I wouldn't play any more than two of either, though. Like, really, to be honest. I do like Camion a bit more, just simply because he can do that 500 damage. Next up is Zephion, the Time Lord. These names. So, at the end of the battle damage, at the end of the battle phase, if this card attacked or was attacked, shuffle all spell trap cards your opponent controls into the deck. See, this is so much better than Gabrion. Just shuffle everything. Screw your opponent's stuff. And oh wait, it also gets rid of their pendulums too. That is really, really good. Just attack, shuffle. That is really good. It disrupts your opponent's plays. If you're doing against something like Dracopals, you disrupt their pendulum zones. They have to completely reset their pendulum zones, and that can really, really screw them over and set them back a few turns. It takes a bit to get your pendulum zones and everything all set up that you want, and so that can just really, really screw over stuff. I like this guy a lot. Or would it be a girl? I can't really tell. It's a more feminine in the face. So girl it is. So next up, Michion, Time Lord. By the way, if you haven't caught on yet, all these guys are named after like angels. I believe they're named after 12 specific angels. I can't remember. Anyway, so at the end of the battle phase, if this card attacked or was attacked, half of your opponent's life points. He looked. This card's funny and mean. Yeah, this guy, yeah, he's really good. Can you imagine attacking? Okay, so you attack, your opponent takes about 4,000 damage because they have to their life points. Next turn, oh, you get shuffled back, so you normal summon another copy. Attack. Okay, now your opponent has 2,000 life points. Okay, he gets shuffled back during next standby phase. And then during your next turn, you summon out Sendai and just attack it, and boom, 2,000 for game. That's basically what it would come down to. And I really, really like this guy a lot. Now, again, you still have to attack with everything, and that's the one hindrance I'd have to say for this deck, is that while they cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects, there are things that don't destroy. I mean, there's D-Prison, there's Storming Mirror Force, there's, good God, Quaking Mirror Force would screw this deck over unless they were all added with the even if face down little card text there, which would kind of make it a bit better. But like, so many cards are out nowadays that would just screw this deck over. And also, since you can only really have one monster out at any given time, just like imagine Castell for game. That basically come down to what it is. This deck would probably be a very heavy back row, heavy stunny deck if I had to really take a guess. Next up is Razion, the Time Lord. Fire Fairy effect, blah blah blah. Same effects as everybody else, pretty much. At the end of the battle phase, if this card attacked or was attacked, return all cards in your opponent's graveyard to the deck. Each time your opponent draws a card, inflict 500 damage to your opponent. So, not only do you get to disrupt your opponent's graveyard and shuffle everything back to the deck, but every time your opponent draws a card, your opponent takes 500 damage. Okay, so this would be a really funny side deck against Exodia. Just saying, okay? See how long it takes them to get to Exodia before they burn to death. Now, with that being said, I don't like the fact that he can just return all cards in your opponent's graveyard to the deck. There are some times where you do not want to return certain cards back in the deck, like for instance Castells, or 101, stuff like that, stuff that would really disrupt your plays. So, now, what I would like is if you could return X number of cards, like I don't know, like, at the end, if he attacked an opponent's monster, no, that wouldn't work if he attacked directly, though. I just wish that you could pick and choose, like, what cards you get sent back, and then the others don't. That's my only real gripe with it. Next up is Xadion, the Time Lord. Cannot blah, 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 all that same stuff. At the end of the battle phase, if this card attacked or was attacked and your life points are lower than 4,000, your life points become 4,000. I like this. Oh, hey, you just tried to decay me and it failed? Okay, summon Xadion, attack. Okay, I go from 200 life points to 4,000. Come at me. I like this guy a lot. I wish that he could, like, somehow boost up your life points a bit more. Like, I don't know, like, the go to 4,000 kind of part. That's obviously because, oh, in the anime, the base life points is 4,000, but, oh well. So, yeah, next card is Time Maiden, level 1, cannot be normal summoned or set, must first be special summoned from your hand if you control no monsters. You can tribute this card, add one Time Lord monster from your deck to your hand. I like this a lot. Okay, so since you can't normal summon it, that means you can still normal summon out the Time Lords themselves. Time Maiden, that's not a once per turn effect. You can, if you open 3 Time Maiden, just bang, 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 and then search. Well, bang, search, bang, search, bang, search. There you go. I like this card a lot, just being able to search out all of them. I wish you could, like, 1-for-1 it or something, but you cannot. So, oh well. I still like the card a lot. It's really good. Not an on for the traps. Now, you'll notice there are no spells. I really wish the deck had some spells, but oh well. So, first and foremost, Crown of the Empress. If you control a Time Lord monster, draw 2 cards for each synchro monster your opponent controls. When a synchro monster is special summoned to your opponent's side of the field, you can activate this card from your hand. This card I like, but however, it'd probably be a side deck card because, let's face it, aside from like Ignister, not many synchros are really played in the current format. And that is kind of sucky. I mean, granted, again, this deck was from 5D, so back then everybody was using synchros. Nowadays, unless you're doing against Speedroids or Dracopals or, like, I don't know, trying to think of another big synchro deck, Red Dragon Archfiend or something like that, your opponent's not really going to synchro summon that much. There aren't really many synchros-oriented decks out there. Oh, and any Yang, of course. So, really, this would be more of a side deck card, and I would totally set like 2 or 3 of it. Just being able to draw 2 for each synchro monster your opponent controls. Can you imagine that? Oh, hey, you're doing against Yang Zings. They have a Baxia, they have a Bixie, they have, I don't know, friggin' Trishula. Okay, activate triple Crown of the Empress. Draw, let's see here, 2, 4, 6, draw 6 times 3. That'd be 18. Draw 18 cards. It'd be so stupid. Oh, I love it. Okay, next up is Zero Machine Ain. Continuous trap card. Once per turn, you can discard 1 Time Lord monster, draw 1 card. By the way, since it's a trap card, you can do that during your first turn. I like this card a lot. And it puts feel for Cephalo's effect. Next up, Infinite Machine Ain Soft. So yeah, Infinity. Ooh. Okay, so activate by sending 1 face-up non-existence. Non-existence? I believe that's the other name. Oh, okay, so yeah, they changed the name from Zero Machine Ain to non-existence. I think that's what it's called in the boss duel. Yeah, they made a boss duel out of these things. Anyway, so you send 1 Zero Machine Ain or whatever, and now it's called Endless Emptiness. What? Infinite Light? Okay, so they're changing the names on me. Okay. So yeah, this is non-existence, this is Endless Emptiness. Kind of like Infinite Machine Ain Soft, but oh well. Activate only by sending 1 face-up non-existence to you control to the graveyard. Once per turn during your turn, you can special summon 1 Time Lord monster from your hand. Once per turn during your opponent's turn, you can discard 1 Time Lord monster, draw 2 cards. So when this face-up card on field is sent to the graveyard, target 1 non-existence in your graveyard, add it to your hand. I like this card a lot, just being able to summon out a Time Lord during your opponent's turn. So, hey, you castelled my, I don't know, Gabrion. Okay, I'm going to activate this card's effect, summon out my Sedion. Just kind of screw you. Then during your turn, you can discard a Time Lord, draw 2 cards. I like that effect a lot. And being able to get back to non-existence because it was sent to the graveyard is really, really nice. Next up is Infinite Light Ain Soft Ob, or Infinite Light. I'm guessing this would be the TCG names if we ever got the last like arc of 5Ds over here. I don't know. So, Activate only by sending one face up and this emptiness you control to the graveyard. So in other words, discard. And that would also trigger this card's effect to get back non-existence. That's pretty nice. Okay, so Time Lord monsters you control cannot be returned to the deck. Just screw you, Castell, and screw you, all my Time Lord monsters effects. The issue with that is that then you would not be able to normal summon out your Time Lords, but they thought about that. So once per turn during your turn, you can spell summon out a Time Lord monster from your hand. Once per turn during your opponent's turn, you can discard one Time Lord monster, draw 2 cards. I like that. When it's face up card on the field is sent to the graveyard, you can spell summon once a file on the ultimate Time Lord from your hand, deck, or graveyard, ignoring its summoning conditions. I like this card a lot. So not only does it prevent your Time Lords from being shuffled back into the deck, but it also allows you to summon out more Time Lords from your hand. So hey, even if one of your Time Lords does get like destroyed or shuffled or something odd, however that would happen, you can just normal summon and then activate discard's effect special summon. I like that a lot. Then during your opponent's turn, you can just discard a Time Lord, draw 2 cards. Again, I like that a lot. And hey, if they NST it or Twin Twister it, out comes a Phylon from anywhere. Doesn't matter where it is, hand, deck, graveyard, whatever. I like this a lot. It's a really good card, and something that I honestly just noticed, all of the trap cards for this deck involve drawing. And oh my god, I can only imagine what kind of spell cards they would get if they were to get spell cards. I'm not joking about this, guys. There are no Time Lord spell cards. See? No spell cards. And yeah, there's the boss store cards. So overall, what do I think of Time Lords? I think this deck really should be printed by now. It really should have. Okay? Konami, get your butt on it. Secondly, if this deck were to be printed, I could see it as a big stun deck. Because you gotta have field control, you gotta prevent your opponent from going into stuff that can get rid of your Time Lords, and you gotta be able to get rid of your opponent's back row, because a lot of back row nowadays can screw over Time Lords. I mean, there's a lot of non-destruction Time Lords. I would really like to see the Time Lords be printed, and I would really like to see something get printed for them that maybe can make it to where they cannot be targeted as well. Like maybe another continuous trap card or a continuous spell card that says Time Lord monsters you control cannot be targeted by card effects. That'd be really, really nice. Now, with that being said, though, will this deck ever be printed? I kind of somehow doubt it. I mean, we've gotten 2 of them. I believe we know most of the next Dragons of Legend, and I don't think we have any announcements of Time Lords in there. So, I don't know. I can't remember how much of the next Dragons of Legend we know about or not. So, guys, tell me what you guys think about Time Lords. Would you like to see them printed? How would you like to see their effects changed? Or do you think any of them need to be nerfed? Or do you think any of them need to be buffed? Personally, I think that if they were printed like this, they wouldn't be that big of a deal. In all honesty, maybe 1 or 2 of them could use a bit of a buff. But however, this deck, it's really obnoxious to duel against. I'm going to be completely honest. And it's a lot of fun to play. It's one of those weird decks where you hate dueling against it, but you love playing it. So, tell me what you guys think of this deck, and tell me what you guys think I should cover next for the next anime deck discussion. Thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and have a great day, guys. Peace out.